All right, welcome back, my friends. We're going to do a really fun, jazzy, bluesy turnaround here that you can put in any of your blues rhythm playing, but we're going to do it in a slower blues, and it's going to be, I think, just easier to wrap your hands around at a little slower tempo. We're going to be in the key of G, and I'm going to start the progression with the turnaround, almost like an intro. So it's going to go something like this. It's really great. A handful of chords all there, right? These are expensive chords. Now we're going to talk about them in the lesson portion for sure, but imagine you're just playing a blues in G and you're at the turnaround, and then we can play G7, which is just a bar chord on the 3rd fret 6th string. My favorite G7, I think, of all time, or any 7th chord, which is in the tab, you'll see it as a G7/D. Then a C7 bar chord, and then a C sharp diminished 7, which is great because you're just really moving the bass note there to this D7 sus4 to a D7. So there's very little movement happening here, but it's just enough to really make it sound like you're getting that great walk up. Okay? So you can use this in a lot of your blues playing, but this is a really good opportunity. We'll be kind of doing that. That kind of idea. Let's play it first, then I'll come back and we'll talk about it. But it's a lot of fun to do this. And really, if you're hung up on that whole diminished thing, we're going to break it down. But think about this. That diminished chord is really a bridge to get you from a C7, C sharp diminished 7. We could go right to a D7. We don't have to play the D7 sus. And think about that as you're playing other chords. Maybe you're playing a G major 7 to an A minor 7. You could play G major 7, G sharp diminished 7, A minor 7, B flat diminished 7. Or if you're in C major 7, C sharp diminished 7, D minor 7. That's for another lesson, but that's sort of something you can put in the back of your mind. Where can I put these diminished chords? Well, when you're sort of bridging the gap from one to another in this sequence, you'll be able to do it. All right, enough of me yakking. Let's play the example, and then I'll teach you some of the finer points of the progression. Let's do it. All right, so let's break this down and talk about this great turnaround that we're putting into this 12-bar progression here. Now we're playing a blues in G, our one chord G7, 3rd fret 6th string. I'm not going to spend too much time on these. You'll have them in the tab, and you might already know these. The other G7 that I love is this one. I use it all the time. I teach it in courses, and it's on paper a G7/D because this is the G7 and the D is in the bass. So that's my two options for the 1 chord. And it gives me great melody already. And of course I go to the 4 chord. I can do either a C9 first, to a C7, or a C9, C7 there. Of course I could go backwards is what I want to do. C7, C9, you choose, all right? This is what this is about. There's no hard, fast rule. Whatever sounds cool to you, do it, okay? But those are your 2 options for this example. So oftentimes you can box yourself in a little bit with the tools you have and then play around, all right? So then we go back to the 1 chord, G7, G7, and of course I like to wrap my thumb around just in case I give it a big wallop. I won't hear that 6th string ring out. So then we go back, of course, to our 4 chord. Maybe start with the bar chord first, to the 9 chord, to the 7, to the 9, G7, 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 G7. Now I'm going to go straight to D9 and maybe do that half step walk down because there's not a lot of time to play around there. I do on occasion go back to that C7. Now we're going to start the turnaround. And again, I went quickly through those because they're already in the tab. And if you're considering this already, there's a good chance you've played a 12-bar blues with those types of chords already. If not, consult the tab, take your time. YouTube has a slowdown function that works pretty well too, so take advantage of that. All right, so our turnaround now. This is what's great about, I think the way I teach, I think I do a good job of this because I want to put in stuff you already just played. G7, G7, C7, C sharp diminished 7. All you're doing is changing it up a smidge by adding your 2nd finger to that 4th fret 5th string to give you a C sharp. You're not going to bar, but you're going to play these notes individually, and you already had 2 of them here from the bar chord. So your 2nd finger goes 4th fret 5th string, 1st finger goes 3rd fret 3rd string. That's C sharp diminished 7. Then, this is a cool chord. This could be called a D7 sus. There's a D, there's a G, and a C, and then another D. Now, the D is the root, and the C on the 3rd string, 5th fret, could be considered like the flat 7, like when you play a D9. See how those notes are there? We're just going to play them with some different fingers. That's a D7. To make it a sus, we need to do this. Because when you suspend a chord, you raise the 3rd, the major 3rd, the F sharp, up a half step to a G. You heard that before. But it creates this nice little movement without too much going on. But this is the shape I use because I add a D down here as well. And then I go to a D7, which is, you probably know. Again, all this will be in the tab. Kind of like, gives you that sort of quasi Hard Day's Night type of sound. It's not the exact chord, I don't think, but played on the 5 to the 1, and it sounds great. So I even start it now on the track, and I'll show you as I play the track. I'll give you a count off first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Turn it up a little bit. Now we'll go to the 5 chord, stay on that D9 shape. want to do that little half-step move, back to the dominant. So what I did there on that turnaround is I'll go down, 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 down. Because then I introduce that in the second chorus. So on and so forth. You can start to play around with the diminished chord too. Preview of perhaps some coming attractions, right? We're going to be doing a lot more of this stuff in courses and on the channel and some other ways you'll access lessons as well. But I thought that was really fun. Remember, it's just G7, G7, C7, C sharp diminished, D7 sus4, D7. Really, really, really fun stuff. It'll all be tabbed. I'll put that track together too. What I want to mention too about this track, make sure you pay attention. When you start it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Start the turnaround. So why did I count to 12? Well, this feel is a 12-8 feel. 1, 2, let me do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The band comes in. So a little effort on your part there to really make sure you pay attention. All right, that's all I got for today. I thought that was really, really fun. I was like, man, we got to do some kind of turnaround lesson. We've done them before, but nothing like that. I hope you dig it. Again, please subscribe to the channel if you've made it this long, or even if you haven't made it this long, or you're here from another video. I'd love to have you stick around because we always have new lessons coming out. You can feel free to hit the bell to be notified when I put out new content. Of course, liking this video with a thumbs up is the least amount of work you can do and also is very valuable to us here. All right, I'm Corey, and that was a fun little turnaround lesson. Get the tab in the track, have a good time, report back to me with your findings. All right, I'll see you on the next one.